Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here. Harmony, energy, healing, and Divine Heretic books. This post today or video today is about stories, because there's so many stories, and which ones are freeing for us. Okay. We all have stories, many stories. We're walking stories. The way that we perceive things and function in life is largely due to stories. Either it could be stories we've adopted from cultures or religions, ideologies, belief systems, and those stories direct our lives. They might chain us or free us, and we may or may not know. Typically, I think we do know when we start to feel free. But anyway, with regard to the stories, things happen. They say things happen to us, but really they're happening through us. We have certain experiences to be tested for how our souls will evolve, for the wisdom and the knowledge that we gain from those. Okay, so those create stories, right? But we are not our stories. Our stories contribute to us, to aspects or facets of us and who we are. But we're not our stories, and many people get confused with that. They get stuck. Sometimes some people get very much stuck in something that happened to them, and they identify with that story, and so they become their story. Their life becomes their story, and they kind of can't get free of it. So it becomes almost like a little cell. So we can share our stories. It's important to actually do that, to not keep stuff inside, and to share the knowledge and the wisdom that we've gained from our stories that actually helps ourselves and others. Okay. But it's not to get stuck in a particular chapter, because our lives are stories that are always unfolding. So to not stay stuck in particular chapters of events, or the wounds from those events, because things are wounding, or they feel wounding. And sometimes it's hard to move out of that. Sometimes we don't have the tools. We don't know how to let go. Some people have a hard time forgiving. But forgiveness is the key to freedom. They say hell is a door that's locked from the inside. So if we're in a cell, we have the power to release ourselves from that cell. Some people aren't ready to let go of their pain. Why? What do they gain from not letting go of that pain? Secondary gains. So with regard to stories, determining what your story means to you, what did you learn from it? Okay. Is it a burden that you carry around? Do you get tired of telling it? And it gets to be where finally, when you can tell the story and it's not painful, that maybe you've moved through it or beyond it to some degree. But I want to talk more about stories we adopt and believe. Okay. So there's certain stories, fairy tales, all kinds of things that we're told, something someone makes up, something someone channels through higher source, revelation, gospels, people that are in touch with source, God, whatever that is, who God works through, and there are many of them, who share messages. Okay. And it's up to each person to determine what that message means to them. They have to interpret that. But sometimes we accept someone else's interpretation of something. For instance, like with Christianity, the idea of the rapture is about 200 years old. That's it. That's an interpretation that's about 200 years old. And unless you do research to have a deeper understanding of what you follow and believe, you might not know that. That's not what the original Christians believed. So that's like an interpretation, an ideology, an idea, an understanding, or a belief, but that doesn't necessarily make it true, and that doesn't need to be frightening. If you've carried around this belief system that you feel you have to defend and you think that that's going to save you and that puts you in a comfort zone box. So would you be comfortable if you knew that you were believing something to comfort yourself that wasn't even true? Or would you want to find out more about what truth is? Because you really have all the answers inside you. Okay, so the things that we follow and believe, they're stories. How do they free you? So in other words, if you think, oh, someone else is going to do something for me and I don't have to do anything on my journey, okay, comfort zone box. And we do come here to do work. We do come here to have experiences. We do come here to learn and grow and evolve. Okay, we do learn to come here to get disconnected from being too impregnated in matter. Okay, too in touch with the physical things, to get more in touch with our spirit and our soul. Okay, so if you want to believe a story that someone tells you because you're like, oh, we don't remember our origins. We do not remember where we come from, or that we are divine beings of love. Okay, and that we're absolutely worthy. But see, man-made religions like to program you to feel unworthy because it's a business. It's all about keeping people in guilt and shame and fear because it's a business. It's for money. So believing these stories, how does it free you? So if you're supposed to come here to do your own soul work, but you're buying into some dogmatic ideology and then you're not doing your work, you're not really free. You're kind of stuck and you're kind of tethered. But if you do your own seeking and you find out what your direct connection to God is, and you disconnect from guilt and shame and fear, which keep you stuck and create karma, when you disconnect from that because you realize it's not really true, that's freeing. So that's a story that's freeing, to find out more about the collective love of every being connected to God, and not a religion's ideology of who's right and who's wrong and whose side do I want to be on and who do I want to judge and attack on my righteous journey. So this is about which stories are freeing, okay? Just be aware that an ideology that you adopt and follow may or may not be truth. Part of it might be true. All of it might not be true. Does it free you? Or do you think it frees you because you adopted a belief that it frees you? Or would it free you to know that you're a divine being of love, from love, that is worthy and always has been worthy, so you can disconnect from darkness disguised as light? So it's just an invitation to investigate stories, move through them, find out what feels right to you in the absence of fear. People adopt things because they're afraid, and then that gives them false comfort. So sometimes there's really nothing to be afraid of, but we haven't learned that yet. Peace.